Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be continuing the same chapter Karna, so the part 3 and the final part. If you have not watched the previous two videos, I request you to please watch those and then watch this video. So we'll start the death of Karna. The princes of the Kaurava army installed Karna as generalissimo. Karna stood up in his gorgeous war chariot driven by Salya. The dauntless confidence of his bearing and his great renown as a warrior heartened the Kauravas. In this paragraph, we learn about the death of Karna. So, here, Karna was ready to fight Arjuna. Both were ready, and Karna stood in his war chariot. And the charioteer who was riding the chariot was Salya. And they had a dauntless confidence. Dauntless means brave. They were not scared. Both had the confidence of fighting each other, but Karna had that fearless confidence, and all the Kauravas who were there, they were all proud of it. Then followed a great battle. The son of Surya sent a dazzling arrow which spat fire and made for Arjuna like a serpent with its flaming double tongue out. Then Krishna, Arjuna's charioteer, at the nick of time, pressed the vehicle down 5 fingers deep in the mud so that the serpent shaft just missed Partha's head but struck off his helmet. Arjuna was red with shame and anger, and he fixed a dart on his bow to make an end of Karna. And Karna's fated hour was come, and as had been foretold, the left wheel of his chariot suddenly sank in the blood mire. He jumped down on the ground to lift the wheel up from the mud. Now the battle began. So here the son of Surya, that is Karna, he sent a arrow and it spat fire, and that arrow moved towards Arjuna like a serpent, like a snake, with its flaming double tongue out. And Krishna, Lord Krishna, was the charioteer for Arjuna. He immediately at that time he pressed his vehicle or moved his vehicle away, and immediately that arrow just passed the head of Partha. It just missed, but the helmet that he was wearing it got off. Now Arjuna was very angry at this thing. He felt ashamed and he was very angry. So immediately he took his bow and he fixed it towards Karna and he aimed it. And that was the time when Karna's time or his fate was already foretold. His fate was already foretold, and that's what happened. So, what happened was suddenly the left wheel of his chariot had sunk in the blood mire. It was already told that it would happen, and the same thing happened. And he jumped down on the ground to lift that wheel up from the mud. Wait a minute, he cried. My chariot has sunk in the ground. Great warrior as you are, and knowing Dharma as you do, you would certainly not take unfair advantage of this accident. I shall presently set my car right and give you all the battle you want. Arjuna hesitated. Karna was now somewhat perturbed on account of the mishap. He remembered the curse that had been pronounced on him and again appealed to Arjuna's sense of honor. So Karna said, wait a minute, my chariot has sunk in the ground. So he's telling to Arjuna, you are a very great warrior and you know the Dharma. So this is not correct that you take an unfair advantage because my vehicle has been stuck in the ground. So you cannot take this time to kill me. So first let me set my car or my chariot right, and then I'll give you the battle that you want. We'll have a fair fight. So here Arjuna hesitated. So Karna was now somewhat perturbed. He knew, okay, he started thinking. So now Karna started thinking, or he remembered the curse that had been pronounced on him. He remembered that he was cursed, and that's what had happened. So again, he appealed to Arjuna, please give me some time so that I can lift my chariot and then we'll have a fair fight. Krishna intervened. Ha, Karna, he exclaimed. It is well that you too remember that they are things like fair play. Now that you are in difficulty, you remember them indeed. But when you and Duryodhana and Dushasana and Sakuni dragged Draupadi to the hall of assembly and insulted her, how was it you forgot them utterly? You helped inveigle Dharmaputra, who was fond of play but was unskilled at it, to gamble, and you cheated him. Where had your fair play hidden itself then? Was it fair play to refuse to give to Yudhishthira his kingdom when, according to the pledge, the 12 years of forest life and the 13th year incognito were duly completed? What had happened to the dharma you appeal for now? You conspired with the wicked men who sought to poison and kill Bhima. You acquiesced in the plot to burn the Pandavas alive when sleeping in the palace of wax into which they had been lured. What had happened to Dharma all that time? What did Dharma tell you when violent hands were laid on Draupadi and you were looking on enjoying the sight? Did you not then mock at us, saying, your husbands have left you unprotected, go and marry another husband? The tongue that was not ashamed to utter those words now talks of cavalry? Cavalry indeed. When a mob of you surrounded the young Abhimanyu and shamelessly slew him, was that cavalry? Wicked man, do not talk now of cavalry and fair play, for you have never honored them. But what happened? Krishna, Lord Krishna, who was the charioteer to Arjuna, he intervened. He came there, or he said there, Ha, Karna. He said, it is well that you too remember that there are things like fair play. So he's telling, okay, so even you know that there are things like fair play. That's difficult for us to believe it. You are saying this about fair play just because you are in that difficulty. So you remember that. But when you and Duryodhana and Dushasana and Shakuni, they dragged Draupadi to the hall of assembly and insulted her, where was fair play then? So Lord Krishna is asking, he's questioning Karna. Now Lord Krishna is giving even more examples where Karna was wrong and he's questioning his actions. So he's telling, you helped cheat Dharmaputra. Now who is Dharmaputra? It is Yudhishthira. He is one of the Pandavas. So here he's telling, you helped Duryodhana and others to cheat him. You gambled and you cheated him. And where was your fair play then? And also when Yudhishthira had lost his kingdom and he had to go and live in a forest for 12 years and the 13th one also. But after that, when he returned, you refused to give him his kingdom. Then what happened? Where had your fair play gone at that time? You could have told the truth, you could have supported it, but you did not. So where was it then? You conspired with the wicked men and you tried to poison and kill Bhima. You also plotted against the Pandavas. You wanted to burn them alive when they were sleeping in the palace of wax. So where was your dharma at that time? Why didn't your dharma speak at that time? So all this, and also when Draupadi was assaulted in that area, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you support? Why didn't you stand for her? The violent hands were laid on her. So what did you say at that time when Draupadi was being assaulted? Did you not say? So Krishna is asking, so when Draupadi was being insulted, where were you then? Didn't you say that your husbands have left you unprotected and go and marry another husband? So that time your tongue didn't know about the fair play and what is cavalry? And now you're talking about it when a mob of you surrounded the young Abhimanyu. So he's giving many more examples. So here Lord Krishna is giving many examples where Karna had been wrong. He did not stand. So he's telling you have never honored the fair play or rivalry, and now you're talking about it. So don't do that. You don't have the right to speak like that. When Krishna was denouncing him in this manner in order to urge Arjuna to prompt action, Karna bent his head in shame and uttered not a word. He silently ascended the chariot, leaving the wheel still stuck in the mud, and took his bow and sent an arrow at Arjuna with unerring aim and such power that it stunned him for a moment. Karna utilized the respite won to jump down again and hurriedly try to lift the chariot wheel up. But the curse was too strong for him, and fortune had deserted the great warrior. The wheel would not budge, though he strove with all his great strength. Then he tried to recall the mantras of mighty astras he had learned from Parashurama, but his memory failed in the hour of his need, even as Parashurama had foretold. Now, here, when Lord Krishna was asking all this, he was trying to urge Arjuna to kill him, to kill Karna. So Karna bent his head in shame and he did not say a word back to Lord Krishna. He silently ascended. He went and sat on his chariot, leaving the wheel just like that, stuck in the mud. He took his bow and arrow and he shot at Arjuna. And that aim was not missed. So he, with full power, he threw an arrow. And immediately after doing that, he jumped down again so that he gets some time to lift the chariot up. But the curse that he was affected by, that was too strong for him. So what happened? The wheel would not budge. That is, it not even move an inch. So he strove with all his great might. He put all his strength, but it did not work. Then immediately he started thinking or trying to recall the mantras that he had learned from Parashurama, the mighty astras, the Brahmastra, how to use it. But again, his memory failed. So even that time he was cursed, so he could not remember it. Waste no more time, Arjuna, cried Madhava. Send your shaft and slay your wicked enemy. Arjuna's mind was wavering. His hand hesitated to do what was not chivalrous. But when Krishna said this, the poet says, Arjuna accepted this command of the Lord and sent an arrow which cut and severed the head of the Radheya. The poet had not the heart to impute this act to Arjuna, who was the embodiment of nobility. It was the Lord Krishna that incited Arjuna to kill Karna when he was vainly trying to raise his chariot out of the mud in which it had stuck. According to the code of honor and laws of war prevailing then, it was wholly wrong. Who could bear the responsibility for breaches of dharma except the Lord himself? So immediately Madhava is Lord Krishna. He screamed, he said, waste no more time, Arjuna. So he's like, slay your wicked enemy, that is, kill him. Send your arrow and kill him. Now Arjuna's mind was wavering. He was not sure what to do. He was confused. His hand hesitated. He did not know what to do. But as Lord Krishna himself had ordered it, he agreed or he accepted that command of Lord Krishna, and he took an arrow which cut and severed the head of Karna. Now the writer at the end is questioning us that who can actually take the responsibility of killing someone according to the code of honor and laws of war. It was wholly wrong because his chariot was stuck in mud. So if you had to play it fair. But here at the end, you are telling that it was Lord himself who had told or given this order. So we don't have any right to question that. I hope you have understood this chapter. And in case you have any doubts, you can please comment below. And thank you for watching.